think I just had the best reading month of my life. I'm so excited to talk about all the books I read in January and my TBR for February, which I think is going to be a really good reading month as well. I just keep reading banger after banger, so I'm beyond excited to talk about these books. In January, I read 4 books and I'm in the middle of 2, which puts me right on track for my goal for the year. My goal is 50 books, which is just over 4 a month. So let's talk about the 4 that I read in January, where I'm at with the books I'm in the middle of, and my TBR for February. First on the list is a book I don't have physically, but I should get, which is Heartless Hunter. The second one comes out in February, so this was perfect. I started my year off by reading this book super fast. I absolutely loved it. I rated Heartless Hunter 4.75 stars. The premise of this book is a witch and witch hunter romance fantasy. I'm like a ghost, hold on. Okay, that's better. I would describe this book as quick, fun, immersive, with some good romance aspects as well. The world building wasn't like amazing for a fantasy book, but it was just good enough. You kind of hop right into the story. And I just really liked the dynamic of a lot of our main characters. Basically, it follows after our main character, Rune, who at the very beginning actually gives up her grandmother to the government because they are killing all the witches. And you'll get in trouble if you're harboring a witch or know a witch. And so her grandma told her, just tell them I'm a witch. And I guess they're not actually blood related, so they didn't think that Rune was a witch. So that's how the book starts. Her grandmother dies. And then she has 2 best friends, Verity and Alex, who help hide her identity, because it turns out when she approached womanhood, she was also a witch. And then Gideon is like this famous witch hunter, and Gideon and Rune end up in a double-sided fake courtship. So they're both faking being in this courtship to get something out of each other. So it's kind of fake dating, but it just gets all dramatic and crazy things happen, and it was just fun. It was kind of cat and mouse, really quick pace. Like, I wasn't bored at all. I felt like each scene had a purpose, and I'm really excited where things are going with the second book, Rebel Witch, that comes out this month. As far as spicing goes, there was at least one explicit spice scene that was super light on the spice. It definitely could be skipped. Now, before we get into my next book, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is Louisa. As you guys know, I've worked with them so many times. I absolutely love their jewelry. Louisa is a jewelry company with very high quality pieces at affordable prices. I just got these new earrings from them. I don't know if you've been noticing in my videos, but these 2 on the bottom are new ones from them. Literally all my earrings are from them. My wedding bands are from them. This necklace is from them. When I tell you it's my favorite jewelry company, I am not lying. They have gold and silver pieces. Obviously, I prefer the gold. They're very high quality, and I need hypoallergenic because my ears will react if I don't, and I've never had a problem with their earrings before. Their jewelry is long lasting, hypoallergenic, water resistant, and sustainable. They also have free and fast shipping within the US, and if you're outside the US, they have very affordable shipping as well. They even have a 2-year guarantee on all their products, so you know you're getting some good quality pieces. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I'm somebody who never takes off my jewelry. I'm not even kidding. I just changed my earrings for the first time in years, and I pretty much only wear Louisa. I don't take my rings off. I don't ever take my necklace off. I don't take my earrings off literally ever. And I have never had problems with their products. Especially with Valentine's Day coming up, you might want to get some new jewelry pieces or send this to your man to buy you some new jewelry pieces because they are so pretty. They have so many options. It took me a while to decide what pieces I even wanted to get because I want to buy everything on their website, but they have so many great options. And they're affordable. I love working with Louisa because I truly believe in their products and love and wear their products consistently. So if you guys want to shop my all-time favorite jewelry brand for long-lasting and affordable jewelry, you can get up to 25% off, and the more you buy, the more you save. Simply by just clicking the link down in the description. You guys are not going to be disappointed. They have necklaces, bracelets, rings, earrings, you name it, they have it. So once again, make sure to shop at Louisa with the link down in the description. Now let's hop into the next book. The next book I read was Quicksilver, which I rated 5 stars. This one is very spicy. Spice is like all throughout the book, so if you don't like spice or read spice, skip it. I don't really love spice, but I still really enjoyed this book. I think I was just in the mood for this kind of like bantery, fun, little bit spicy type of book. This is technically a portal fantasy. So our main character, Saris, lives in this super poor part of her kingdom. It's a pretty corrupt kingdom from what we know, and she essentially ends up being taken to their brutal queen. And it is there that she somehow triggers a magic system called Quicksilver to open a portal where a man comes through and pulls her through the portal into the Fae realm. Yup, it's a classic human to Fae realm. It is very enemies to lovers. It's very much so focused on the romance, but the further you get into the book, you get more and more aspects of the fantasy. Now, I will say the beginning of this book was really hard for me to understand for some reason. I did not understand what was going on, but once it clicked and once the banter kind of picked up, I started to thoroughly enjoy this book. I really like the aspects of the fantasy world and kind of all the twists at the end and what they have to do at the end, and it left it really open for another book to come out, which I'm pretty sure is coming out in November of this year. Our main male character also has shadows, so if you love that, you'll love this book. And not only does it have humans and fae, but we actually get vampires as well. Now, I assume the next book is really gonna lean into vampires. This book, you get a little like sample of, hey, there's vampires in this world, and kind of basically the fae and the vampires are at war. This book reminded me so much of A Court of Mist and Fury, which is one of my favorite books. It got me into reading, so I really loved that. Just that banter and then the fae human aspect, as well as just like this fun world. I just had a really good time reading it. There weren't any lines that like really stood out to me or quotes or anything like that. It was just like a fun, goofy, silly time. I felt like I was constantly on a cliffhanger at the end of each chapter. I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to read one more because there were like plot twists and things that I didn't know what was going like at the end of every single chapter. Also, a little bit of a ways into the book, we get another character introduced who is a comedic relief, and I just absolutely love him. He's so funny and he's just kind of like along for the ride. And I think that really helped make this book a lot more fun. Okay, I feel like no matter what I do, I just look like a ghost over here. I mean, it is January. I guess it's February now, but anyways. So Quicksilver, absolutely loved. If you like those kind of books, like A Court of Mist and Fury, even like Fourth Wing kind of, those bantery, enemies to lovers type of books, you would probably like Quicksilver. The third book I fully read in January was Onyx Storm. You guys, of course, knew this was coming. This came out Tuesday, January 21st. It is the third book in the Empyrean series, which is the Fourth Wing series. We had Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and now Onyx Storm. This was my most anticipated read of the year, and it was a wild ride. I am rating it 4.75 stars, and if you guys want to see me react to it, talk about non-spoiler at the beginning and then a spoiler section at the end, that was the last video I posted, so you can go check it out. But this book, I flew through it. It really did have me in a chokehold, and the end had my jaw on the floor. Like, I was crying, screaming, throwing up multiple times because of this book. So at first it was a little bit slow, but once it got going, it got going. And then absolutely tore my heart out, which is what I expect from Rebecca Yarros, because that's what she does, okay? I love it. If you love like the ACOTAR series, you're gonna love the Fourth Wing series. So if you haven't started it, definitely start it. If you don't know what it's about, our main girl Violet decides to become a dragon rider by crossing what is called a parapet. And if you fall off of this little beam going across this mountain, you die. And throughout the entire schooling of rider school, everything you do is to help you become a better rider, which the riders are like the army in the Empyrean world. But then you find out that everything is not what it seems. There was a rebellion. Xaden, the main male, has a rebellion relic on him. There are also other quadrants like scribes, and she was gonna be a scribe, but her mom kind of made her become a writer. She also has long-term pain, so she really is someone who should not be able to be riding dragons, but she actually ends up being a very special and important character despite this challenge. She has a lot of character growth, a lot of stuff happens throughout the 3 books. She basically becomes a whole new person by the end of this book, and the end of this book had me shocked, kind of like the end of Akamoth or Akawar had me. Just, okay, I was not expecting that, you know? And we're left on such a cliffhanger that I literally didn't actually believe the book ended. I was like, where's the next page? There wasn't a next page. So if you love cliffhangers and the dragons being able to speak in your mind and mates and shadow daddies, then this is your book. So yeah, I really did love this one. I don't know what other people are saying about it because I haven't really gotten too much into the review world of it yet, but I thought I wasn't gonna like it because the first like third I was so bored, and then I literally ate it up. And that's the only reason it's not a 5-star, is because I was pretty bored at the beginning. But once it got going, it got going. That being said, my 4th book I read this month, I just finished yesterday, which is Red Rising. I legit read this book in one day. One day. I sped my way through it because we had a book club. Oh wait, today's February 2nd. So I guess I technically read this February 1st. So I guess I only read 3 books in January and this is my first book of February. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I already read it, so I'm telling you about it. This book was so good. I see why people like it. I'm rating it 4 stars. And the only reason I'll just go ahead and say that it didn't get a 5-star is because of the male perspective was giving me the ick a lot, that I just couldn't like get over it. Like saying the word piss a lot, like people getting peed on, like kind of like that locker room talk was featured in this book. Other than that, it has, like, I tabbed it up because it has so many good quotes. It's very politically driven. It follows our main character, Darrow, who is born pretty much the low of the lows. They're essentially slaves into the Reds. So you're labeled by your color within this world, and Reds are like the low of the lows. They're the minors. And then there's like the Golds, who are beautiful, they have wings, they're more smart, and they like rule everything. This also takes place on Mars, and the Reds are told that they are preparing Mars for the humans on Earth, just to find out, after Darrow's wife is brutally killed for singing a forbidden song, that that is not true and everything he knows is a lie. So he enters into this like elitist community, which is the Golds, and is trying to dismantle it from the inside out. I think this is such a good read if you want something that is heavily politically driven but also focuses a lot on character growth. I'm so excited for the rest of this series because Darrow realizes that there are good people within this elite society and he doesn't really know what to do with that information. I wish I could read all the quotes that I have highlighted because it's so interesting. Like, he's so against slaves because he is a slave, or was a slave, and then later in the book he actually takes slaves for himself, but he learns like why it's bad instead of just I was one so it's bad, but he learns why it's bad and learns a better way of governing, and the list goes on of the things that he learns in this book firsthand, and I'm just yapping now. Okay, basically it's a really good book, and everything he does is driven out of like revenge and vengeance for the people that killed his wife. And I find that to be beautiful because the whole time he's like talking about her and how much he loved her, and they were very, very young. I think they were like 16 when they got married, and he's only 18 by the end of this book. I love that. Like, talk about yearning, talk about a man in love with his wife. Like, he literally changes everything about himself to avenge his wife. Who doesn't love that? So I'm excited to see where this world goes. So now on to my February books that I want to read this month. First and foremost, I don't have it yet because it's not out yet, and that is going to be Rebel Witch, which is the second to Heartless Hunter. I kind of want to reread the very end of Heartless Hunter to prepare for that because I don't exactly remember how it ended, but I'm very excited for that one. Next is Fairy Tale. I actually never finished this. If you watched my reading vlog of me reading Fairy Tale, I don't even have my bookmark in it because I have it on my Kindle too, but I'm about 40% of the way through. It's a thick book, but I have learned so many new words from this book and what things mean that I didn't realize I didn't know what they meant, and had to like look up their meaning. And it takes place in the 1950s, I believe. Oh my gosh, talk about yearning and love, and like not just a sexual attraction but like a true in love type of feeling. That is this book. I haven't even gotten to the complexities of it yet, but I've been told that this is like a yearning to the max, complex, most epic love story of a book. So what it is about is a girl finds out she was an orphan and she works at an orphanage, and she receives a letter from her father, who she found out just passed away. She's never met her father, and she had no idea that her father knew who she was. So she has to go to his hometown of Fairydale, which is where him and her mom had met and all that, and be there at the funeral to collect the money. But once she gets there, she realizes Fairydale is very strange. There's paranormal stuff going on. There's talks of witches. She's having weird dreams. Crazy things keep happening to her that like shouldn't ever happen. And it really just makes no sense. And she's very lost, and we get her perspective. So we're lost 2. We have no clue what's going on, and we literally get gaslit. We get gaslit by the author because our main character gets gaslit. And it's just really fun. It is a little bit on that like creepy paranormal, but not like super, super creepy. It's definitely doable and worth it for all the fun aspects of this book. I don't even know how to explain what it's about, but it is becoming one of my favorite books ever, which is why I'm taking so long to read it, because not only is it big, but it's so good I don't want to stop reading it, so I keep picking up other books. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I am going to finish it in February. Oh my gosh, this looks so much better. I want to apologize for filming the whole first half of the video not on this camera. My camera died because I forgot to charge it, so now we're on to this camera, which looks 10,000 times better. But basically, I will be finishing Fairytale in February. I'm actually going to hop right back into it now that I finished all my January books. The next one is one I started in November, but Lord of the Rings, I actually am almost done. This is how far into the book I am. Like, I have that much left. Not very much at all. I like it. It's very like classic. I feel like everybody's got to read this book if you like fantasy at least once in their life. And it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just not my usual go-to. I am really liking it, but I am doing audiobook with it. I'm kind of doing both. And I finally found the narrator that I like. I talked about that in another video, that the audiobook narrator was making me mad, but I like the one I found now. Obviously the story is super fun, and it's like your ultimate just epic fantasy going on a long quest for the good of all people, and you know that's obviously going to be an epic story, but it is an older book and not as like fast paced, but I'm enjoying it, so I'm definitely going to finish it. I'll probably honestly finish it this week or next because I actually want to finish Fairytale first. Oh well, I'll finish it soon-ish, and I'm excited. I was gonna say I'm excited. Maybe that's why I'm not as intrigued, because I've seen the movies, so I know how it ends, so there's nothing like really, really hooking me, because I know how it ends. So maybe I should have read the books before I ever watched the movies. But there's a lot in the books that we don't get from the movies, which obviously is great. Okay, let's talk about some political books I'm gonna be reading, essentially. I bought both of George Orwell's most popular books, which is Animal Farm in 1984. I actually didn't have to read these ones in high school. I read Fahrenheit 451 and I want to say another one, but I can't remember what it was called. But I have been wanting to read these. I know what they're about. I've seen a ton of quotes from them. I watched a whole video about the premise of both of these books. I already know everything that happens in the books essentially, but I want to read it for myself, which I think is going to be pretty insightful and good. I like these kind of books. Obviously it's quick, it's easy. These are two books that everybody says that everyone should read at least once in their life. So I'm going to take February to read these. Usually I can only read about 4 books a month, but if I do decide to pick up anything else, I think it is going to be One Dark Window, which is another fantasy book. I've heard the magic system is really cool. I honestly don't really know what it's about, but I know it involves like the magic system is tied to cards, and I'm excited to hop into that world, and I think I'm really gonna like that world, and that is a duology, so I'll probably want to read them back to back. So I'm probably gonna push those for, if I finish all these books, then I will start those books. So that is it. That is my reading review of January and my TBR of February. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And once again, don't forget to shop Anna Louisa with the link down in the description. You'll find some jewelry pieces that you really love. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!